Hey, this is the Rock Traveler again. This video is about, it's for you people who want to do free travel and cheap travel. There's a term called mileage run. So this video, I'm going to cover mileage run. There's another term called mattress runs. That one I'm going to do in the next video, or maybe the one after that. But here I'm going to cover what a mileage run is. I don't know if you've heard of it, if you're new to the hobby of collecting miles and points for free and cheap travel, you might have not heard of mileage runs. What it basically is that if you have a goal, for example, it's late in the year. It could be September, October, maybe November, and because most of these airline mileage programs go by the calendar year, so in other words, January 1st to December 31st, and almost all the airlines have elite classes or they have elite status, and they usually have like silver, gold, platinum, diamond, or whatever. The hotel programs have them too, but I'm talking about airline now. It's the mileage runs is all airline stuff. And if you have a goal, for example, for 2015, it's 2015 now, and if your goal for 2015 is to have elite status, for example, and you're one of the lucky people who actually flies and pays for flights, or your company or your business or whatever, somebody else is paying for your flights, and you're getting to fly a lot, but you didn't quite get elite status. So you could be at, I don't know, say, for example, that American Airlines Silver Elite, I'm not sure if even it's called that, but if it is, let's just make it up, uh, requires 25,000 actual flown miles on American Airlines airplanes or partners. Usually it works for both the main airline and the partners. So let's say just by fluke, the company that you work for or the business that you own or whatever allowed you to fly for 20,000 miles, and now it's September or October, maybe it's early November 2015. And in order to get Silver Elite, which comes with a bunch of perks and things, like you'll get on the plane sooner and you'll get upgraded occasionally or whatever next year, if you reach Silver Elite status, or at least Elite status. But to get there, you need to have 25,000 miles flown on American Airlines. Well, so you look at the calendar and says, oh, we're getting really close to the end of the year. It's October, it's November, whatever, it's even December. And I need another 5,000 miles, and I don't have any planned trips. So what us crazy frequent flyer mile cheap traveler people would do if it was a priority, we would actually book a flight to anywhere that's within the distance you need to go. For example, if you needed 5,000 miles, you probably need to fly from coast to coast, which would be, if you're, for example, in Seattle and you would fly to Miami, you'd probably get your 2,500, probably more than that. And then you fly back, and when you get back, you'll have 5,000 miles, because most of the major airlines like American Airlines and Delta and United, they give you 1 mile for every mile you fly. So if you fly 5,000 miles, you get your 5,000 miles in your account. So what you do, you go on, you start looking online or to the airline website or some of these air ticket distributor companies like Orbitz or Expedia or whatever. There's Priceline, there's a zillion out there. And you start looking for really cheap flights that are going to take you 2,500 miles. Doesn't have to be Miami, it could be anywhere that's close to that distance. And you find the cheapest one, and the cheapest one, it might be $300, $300, $250, who knows? Maybe there's a big promotion and it's like $220 or $200. It's possible. So you look for the cheapest one you can find. If you're flexible, you might be able to fly on a day that nobody else is able to fly, and it's real cheap that day. And you just book it, and then you book your return like several hours later, or the next day if you find a place to stay overnight. Maybe even know someone in that place and you can stay at their place, and I don't know, you could sleep over in the airport or something. But most likely you would probably leave early in the morning, get there sometime in the middle of the day, and then just a couple of hours later you get on a flight and come back, because you're just doing it to pick up the mileage. And once you get the mileage, you're going to get your elite status, and that's the assumption is that next year would be the 2016. You are going to end up using American Airlines a sufficient number of times, like whatever, you might be doing another 20,000 miles. But when you have elite status, you're going to get upgrades. You're going to get, every time it's available, you might be put into business class or first class. And if that's important to you, that's the way to do it. So that's basically what mileage runs are. Just going somewhere for the miles only, going there and then just coming back. So if you have a goal in mind, like status, it's near the end of the year and you want to get your status, or you have a goal in mind of getting somewhere, like you want to get to Europe. Europe requires, let's just say, 50,000 miles to go there and come back from the United States. And you actually have done your research and you know that there's a flight available at the date and time that you want to go, except you only have 45,000 miles in your account and you need an extra 5,000. Well, there's many ways to get those 5,000. Some of my other videos have shown you some of these ways, using credit cards, using shopping portals, and there's just so many different ways. But if you really need those points soon and quickly, because usually miles that you get from flying, they get posted to your account within 2 to 3 days after your flight is over. So for example, to fly to Europe might be a $1,200 flight, $1,500 flight, or whatever, and here you need an extra 5,000 miles. So you just get on one of these flights, you book a flight that's 2,500 miles one way, and then it's going to be 2,500 miles back, and you look for the cheapest one you can find. It might be as little as $250 or $300, and so here you go. You get on your flight, you go to the airport, that's 2,500 miles away, you fly back your 2,500 miles, 2-3 days later you have the 5,000 miles in your account, and now you're able to book that long-awaited trip to Europe that is going to cost you an extra $300 or $250, but big deal, you're getting a trip that's worth $1,200, $1,500. So that explains what mileage runs are. I'm going to cover mattress runs in a future video, which of course is more related to hotels and some of the other tricks and things that people do that fly for free and fly for real cheap. Anyways, hopefully we'll be seeing you on board soon. Take care.